I'm not even sure I really want to do this. I mean, why did I sign up for it? I'm kind of feeling like, who has the time? I've got this book to write. I'm feeling like, I don't know, Startup Week. It's cool and everything, but we had to prepare. And will it even be valuable for people? I don't know. I need a snack.
Wait, Kathy, are you totally serious right now? Okay. First of all, here's the skinny. We talk about this all the time as coaches. Like, the thing we teach is the thing we need to learn, and the thing we need to learn is the thing that we need to be teaching. So this is like the best time for you to be doubting yourself because you're actually leading a session in a few seconds. Okay. So look, here's the deal. We actually have like a lot of time. So let's just chill out for a second. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do you want to
Okay.
I'll grab a beer or something, or grab something to drink and let's just hang on a second. Wait, Kate's just texting me. Just hang on.
Wait, is it?
We're starting now.
Oh my gosh.
Now. But like, hang on. Right now?
Right now? You mean, do people actually hear what I was just saying about doubting?
We've already started.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, Phoenix Startup Week.
Hey.
Yay. Oh my God. Okay. Here's the skinny. That was just a dramatization.
Tanya, you're frozen.
I'm frozen? I feel so alive. Am I frozen for real?
Tanya's frozen, but that was a...
Am I frozen? Oh no. Hello?
Huh. I can see you, Tanya. Kathy seems to be frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel very thought out. And since this is a session with Kathy, I'm going to kind of set it up for everybody who's showing up. I'm assuming, Kate, there are people here, even though I can't see their beautiful faces. But as you just witnessed, that was a dramatization. So if Kathy Sachs, who's actually a professional business coach and a marketing phenom, actually doubted her greatness, she would have used... She would have used a method that she's developed about moving from doubt to doing, and she's going to share it with you today. And I'm super excited to have the privilege to be in conversation with Kathy, because Kathy Sachs has actually been my business coach. And it's fun for me to be asking the questions and not answering them all the time. And she's not just a business coach for me, she's a business coach to many CEOs and companies and leaders. And what she helps them do is unlock their blocks so they can fulfill their potential, which is awesome. In addition to that, Kathy Sachs, if you're not familiar or less familiar with her work in the world, she worked at a marketing and communications venture-backed company, and she helped grow it from 2 million, which is a great feat for any entrepreneur, to 75 million, which is huge. She's also started many businesses and launched them successfully. And she is like a coaching intuitive, which is to say that she finds the spot where you are totally blocked and goes like that and helps you release it. So Kathy Sachs, can everybody, I don't know, do a round of applause for Kathy, please. Welcome.
Oh my goodness, you're funny. Hey, I just got thrown out. I hope I don't get thrown out again earlier on. Tanya, thank you. First of all, I am grateful that you're even here doing this with me, because I know you're going to make it a lot more fun for everyone and for me. So Tanya Katan, thank you for that intro. For those of you who don't know who Tanya Katan is, she has a cape that she wears all day and all night, and she sleeps in it. And it's because she is a real life superhero. She's a best-selling author and the leader of a movement of the same name, Creative Trespassing. It's a best-selling book. If you haven't actually read it yet, you need to go online, get it, buy it, read it. It's amazing. And she was also the co-creator of a globally viral women's empowerment movement called, you might have heard of it, called It Was Never a Dress, hashtag It Was Never a Dress. She's amazing. She's a transformational speaker, innovation coach, and she's been hired by Fortune 500 companies like Google, Amazon, Cisco to come in and help their teams, product teams, leadership teams, engineering teams, HR teams to become more innovative, right? How to wake up and be more creative. And so it's an honor I feel like it's a mutual admiration society here, but we keep good company, right? So that's how we roll. I'm just thrilled that you're here to do this with me and with us all together, because we're going to have a good time. So I hope everyone is ready to lock in and to get ready for an experience that is going to have you be a little different than you were before you showed up today.
And to that point, Kathy, this is just housekeeping. If you have a cell phone, throw it in the garbage, put it away. Because I know I was being a little extreme, but there are a lot of smart people in this session, and you know that just by having a phone near you, it has been proven to be a distraction for your mind. And that's actually when doubt seeps in, is when you lose focus. And so the good news is Kathy's here to hook you up with some tools to find your focus and get it back. So Kathy, I'm going to hand it over to you to get people started and centered in this space, and then we can launch into a conversation. And just so everybody knows, towards the end, we're going to allow plenty of time to have a Q&A so we can go deeper. Okay.
Awesome. Okay. And I know we were told to put mute whenever we stop talking. And for the audience, I hope that's not weird, but we were told that there's ambient noise that's coming in. So we're going to do our best to mute ourselves, but we really like each other and we have a lot of fun with each other. So I may not be as good at the muting in between, but it's conversation that we're having. So here we go. Okay. So you said housekeeping. So the second piece of housekeeping is that when it comes to change, because if you're procrastinating, if you're doubting and not doing, then you're probably not clear, you're probably not focused, and you're probably stuck. So that's why you're here, right? Because if you are clear and you are focused and you are not stuck, then you're in the wrong session. You should probably go to another session, right? Because this is for people like all of us that experience this as a collective. So that means it's going to require you to change a couple of things in your mind. So in order to create space for change, there's one thing I do. I do this in my coaching sessions. I do it in real life for myself, is I create the space for that change and for that focus. And I got to breathe to move into that space. So I'm going to ask each of you here with us, just play along. If you've never done it, just do it. I can see you in your kitchen and I can see you in your home office. I can see you in your co-working space. Like, just do it. We're going to breathe. We're going to breathe for 2 nice deep breaths. We're going to take a breath out, like, so that we can take a nice deep breath in, and then we're going to hold it for 4 seconds, and then we're going to let it out. We're going to breathe in through our nose and breathe out through our mouth. Ready? So that's a little tutorial. We're going to do it twice. Okay, do it with me. I'm going to close my eyes too. Tanya, thank you. You're a great student over there. Blow out. Breathe in. Hold for 4 seconds. And out. Breathe out. In. Hold for 4 seconds. And out. Cool. Like, I already feel different, right? Like, it's like a nice calm. Okay. And so, for this, we're going to be doing some exercises. So I'm going to ask you to grab a pen and a paper, pen, pencil, whatever, grab a piece of paper, a journal, a scrap sheet, a piece of paper, whatever, something that you can capture your thoughts on. And we're going to be welcoming your comments throughout this conversation. We've got a chat if you're using Zoom or Whova. There's a chat there, and we're going to have Kate and the team is going to help us to see what folks are sharing in the chat. And at the end of this, we're also going to have a dedicated Q&A that we'll open up to as well. Cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to launch into it, Kathy. I've got a question for you, because I find that right now a lot of the coaching clients that I'm working with and myself are experiencing this kind of, it's like a mix or a conflating and seemingly disparate things. One is that we're feeling really like we're doubting our skills and abilities, and even mobility, like the ability to move forward, while simultaneously, I work, I coach CEOs and leaders just like you do. There's also a sense of feeling some deep confidence, and so I find that this confluence of confidence and doubting merging together is really interesting. And what I'm curious about from your vantage point is, like, where does self-doubt come from, and do we all have it? Because that would make me feel better knowing. So I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah, you're not alone. I feel it. You're admitting that you feel it. We all do. But, I feel like we need to call out this last year, especially, has created this sort of fertile ground for doubting to emerge even more. It's been a wacky year, and, winning feels like having a job, a paycheck, a business that's still in operation, employees that you can still pay, a roof over your head, family and friends who are healthy and alive and well. Like, that's felt like winning. Whereas for all of us high achievers, successful people who are up to doing something interesting in the world, it's been an interesting year that's, I think, pushed a lot of us into introspection, into questions around what does matter most. What does my life, what can it look like? What should it look like? And what should I be letting go of? And I think the byproduct, we've gotten grounded in what matters most. And the byproduct of all of that is that the stuff that we care most about, for those of us who aren't actually taking action on it, that's causing this like cognitive dissonance for so many of us. And so the byproduct is we're doubting ourselves more in the work that we want to be up to. I mean, this is startup week, so the context is mostly work, but nobody lives just work. We all have work and life, and the lines are blurred. So here's what I found. You're overwhelmed. Not just you, me, and everyone here with us. Like, you're overwhelmed and you're doing too much at once. We're all online too much. We're paying attention to what others are doing, and we're having a sense of fear of missing out because we're on Instagram scrolling and everyone else has it figured out, and everyone else is living their best life despite being in a pandemic. And everyone else is moving forward on their ambitions and their goals. And so that kind of spirals us even into more doubt, which is, let's be honest, it sucks. It doesn't feel good, especially if you're someone who is used to achieving and performing. So, I think especially too, when, like, for people that are working from home and caring for kids, caring for family members, or they're working from home and they're in isolation and there's no one there, it's like there's no on-off switch when it comes to working. I mean, I've felt this too. So you're overwhelmed, you're overcomplicating, and you're scared.
So, okay, to that effect, Kathy, and something, I don't know, I'm sure you get this, but for anybody who's watching right now, presumably you're either an entrepreneur, a leader in some capacity, whether that's community or within a team or whatever, or maybe there's some coaches and consultants on the call or in the session. And one thing I get all the time is, like sort of that I know everything. I always have the tools to help, that I'm not going through the same thing that my clients are going through, when in fact, I'm a human, and of course I am. It's just that I've used creativity, for example, and exploring it and experimenting with it and using it as a catalyst to help people, including myself, get unstuck. So, Kathy, do you have people, thinking that you're like all knowing? And what do you actually do when you are feeling stuck in what I like to call like a doom circle or a doom spiral?
Yeah, I'm glad you raise it in that way, because I am you and you are me, and we are you and you are us. And I always find it interesting when we're speakers, it's like, oh, we're the answer, we have all the answers. No, every coaching session that I have with a client, I come out a better person. Not because I know everything, it's because I've learned something from them that I can then put into practice. They're the ones paying me, right? They're the ones paying you as a client, but like, you come out of it. So, as a student of self-development and coaching others, like, sure, I've been more in practice of getting out of my self-created obstacles. But I have my moments, like, and I'll share with this group here. I'm in the middle of writing a book, and some days I am nailing it, and others, too many of those strung together, other days, I'm just not even showing up. And I tell you I'm going to send a chapter and I don't. And then I feel like crap about myself. And then that just kind of is like this spiral that I move into. And so when you get into that spiral, it doesn't have you taking more action. It has you taking less action. And so I put it off a day. I say, okay, tomorrow's the day. No more excuses. And that shows up. And then I find other stuff like, I mean, can you relate to the idea of high achievers, people that are up to doing things and not afraid of getting shit done? The things that really matter to us are the things that we don't sit on the couch eating like bonbons and procrastinating. No, like we're legit doing something that seems like legitimate work, it's productive. I am productive, but it's not the work that has you putting your neck out. It's not the work that has you sharing your voice in a provocative way, pressing publish on an essay that you're writing that really shares what you think. Switching a career, asking for a raise, launching the ebook on your website to collect leads, hiring that first person to make your startup an actual thing now. We're all, making excuses, and I do it. I do it. And so today we're going to talk about how to get out of this, right? So if I could, I want to share 3 things because I have some notes here to make sure that I stay focused because I have a habit of kind of going all over the place, and that's fun for conversation, not so fun for a session where people are here to get something, done, right? To get some kind of promise. And we've made a promise. You're going to be changed by the end of this in some small way. 3 things people are doing where they need support. You procrastinate. We know what that means. You avoid and you delay. It's fear, it's uncertainty, it's doubt, masquerading as excuses. I'll do it tomorrow. I just need another day in research mode. I have more ideas. I'm not quite sure. And so you delay, and you avoid. 2, you overcomplicate. I know I do this. I was doing this with the writing of my book. We just complicate things. It's a habit as humans. We all do it. We overthink, we overanalyze, we overprocess the steps necessary. I see you nodding your head. Take yourself off mute if you want to say something.
No, I think my head nod was so vigorous in affirmation. I'm just totally, agreeing with you. And this is obviously what you're sharing is both personal and universal. So I'm just nodding in affirmation. Keep on trucking, sister.
Good.
I got questions. Don't you worry.
Okay, so
you're
procrastinating. I actually don't even know where to look. I hope I'm looking in the right place. I'm looking at you, Tanya, then I'm looking at the camera above. Okay, so you procrastinate, you overcomplicate. And then the third thing is you're scared. So you hide because you feel like maybe a fraud. Who do I think I am to have this big voice? You're afraid of what people will think. What will someone's perception of me be when I do the thing that I really deeply want to do, however small or big, doesn't matter, but it has you on the hook in some way and it doesn't work? What then? What then will be, well, for me, for the longest time in my life, and I feel like I've shed this over time in a much more intentional way, which is I got to look good. Like when I worked at Infusionsoft, I had to look good. Not literally good, but like I had to look capable, smart, diligent, high performer, always have the right answer. And my team always had to have the right answer. Like, I look back on my poor team of 8 people, and I didn't leave a lot of space for failure, candidly. And I think I've gotten complete with many of them, but like I've just the person I am today versus who I was then. And I thought I knew everything then. Man, I didn't know much of anything, frankly, right? Hindsight's 2020, but like being scared of not looking good is this ego kind of drive that stops so many incredible ideas and movements and actions and impact. Like it cuts it at the knees before it even has a chance.
Yeah.
So those are the 3: procrastination, overcomplication, and being scared.
Yeah, those are really powerful, and it's interesting that you ended with fear, because to me, it's real and it's imagined. I learned this years ago because I was like, oh man, so many things freak me out, and I find myself in, I've learned how to work with and through some of my fears, but really there are only 2 fears that we're born with, and the rest are learned. And learning that blew my mind, because then it shows you that everything else, if you learned it, you can unlearn it. So the only fears we're born with is the fear of heights or falling, and the fear of loud sounds. Isn't that amazing? So and at this time, to your point, Kathy, what I find again with a lot of the clients that I'm dealing with, they're entrepreneurs and leaders of businesses, and they have had to radically reimagine revenue streams. They are scared they can't pay their employees. They're scared they can't pay themselves. They are scared that their offering is no longer relevant or resonant to their intended audience, which is like mind-blowing. And as we talked about, we have different ways of getting our clients to move through that stuff. With my clients, I'm using creativity, or the idea of basically solving everyday problems tapping into imagination, which is really, it's simple if you practice it. It's skill like anything else. And so I'm curious, what are you using with your clients to really stop this cycle of fear, and then the fear leading to giving up?
Awesome, beautiful segue. And I think I want to honor what you're saying is so true. Industries have changed, and it's causing people to have to adjust. And how quickly you adjust is connected directly to how you're able to survive and then move into thriving during this time. So I think it's presented a great opportunity for people to begin to take action on the things that matter most. But it hasn't made it easier. It's made it even more difficult. So the doubting continues. So, okay, so this is exercise time, everyone. So if you're paying attention this far, or if you're not, wake up, time to wake up. We're going to do an exercise. This is about you. Okay, cool. So what I do in answer to your question, thanks for teeing that up so perfectly. Like maybe we rehearsed this, I don't know. But what we do is we move through questions. And the first thing you got to do is get aware to the fear. You got to get aware to the fact that you're stuck, because the longer that you don't admit to yourself that you're stuck, the longer the pattern continues and the spiral goes deeper, deeper, deeper down. And you continue to long for something that doesn't exist because you're waiting for it to be perfect or whatever the fears are. So let's just name it first, right? So that's part of what our process is going to do today. So we've got 6 questions for all of you. You got your piece of paper and your pen, and we're gonna start with the first one. So what's one thing, a task or a project that you've been avoiding in the last month? And for everyone here, Kate, this is where it's helpful if you guys can share with us, once you write it down, okay, what's one thing that you've been avoiding? Like what's one task or project that you've been avoiding that you want to do, that's been on your mind? So everyone on this call, I want you to write it down. And then once you've written it down, you've taken a look at it, for the brave of us, because it would be a great contribution. Let's show that we're not alone. Like I'm not just avoiding my book. And Tanya, I want to learn, what do you avoid? Like for me, I'm avoiding my book. What are you avoiding doing?
Answering questions. Oh, wait, just kidding. What am I avoiding? I'm avoiding streamlining processes.
Streamlining processes. Okay.
Yeah, because
what is the project? Like, what's the task? What's the thing that you want to do?
That's the problem I've always had with the challenge. What makes me great and what makes me feel stuck sometimes, which is that I love doing lots of different things. And I'm good at like a handful. And so I feel like in order to get more traction, I'd like to focus on one. But don't focus on me. People are popcorning right in here. They have better projects. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got one person who's recontacting prospective clients. Oh, that will be important for customer acquisition that turns into revenue. Jackie, thanks for sharing. So you've been avoiding that. I'm sure you're doing other things that make a lot of sense, right? But you're not doing the thing that needs to be done. Cool. Sophie, my problem is 100% the same as Tanya.
Sophie, let's not work together. I know. Sophie, I love you. We are each other. And yet it's hard because, in order to get traction, and when I hired Kathy as my coach, one thing she taught me was I had 10 ideas that I wanted to execute in 3 months. And she said, whoa, Sophie and Tanya, pick one. Anyway.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So we got a couple comments. Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna keep going. So you've answered. So you've got on your piece of paper, what's one thing you've been avoiding? And if you haven't done it yet and you're listening to this, what are you waiting for? Just come up with something and just write it down. You'll get so much more out of this session if you play along with us. So for me, the one thing is finishing my book. I've got 6 more chapters to do, and I am avoiding it. Like yesterday Tanya knows. Okay, so question number 2. What are you afraid will happen if you do the thing? Because there's fear. We talked about this earlier. There's fear. So what are you afraid will happen if you do the thing? Write down the question. We'll provide these questions to you later that you can access, but answer the question, name the fears, list them. So I'll go first. For writing the book, I am afraid that, so the book is about going from doubting to doing, and it's about taking what I teach in my coaching and putting it into a book that someone can buy for, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks, and being able to share that. So I'm afraid it won't be good. I'm afraid it'll be like a B-, and I'm an achiever and I do things well, or else I don't do them at all. And that's a problem I have. And it's also a skill too, right? It's a superpower. And I'm afraid it's going to be not that great. Also too, when it comes to fears, there's the fear of failure, but there's also the fear of success. I want to call out to all of you. Like, if one fear I have, it's not huge, but I'll share it with you here, is if I write the book and I put it out there, and like now and then I have more responsibility. I got people reaching out to me and I've got more work to do. And like, the fear of success. I'm not sure if I want to really be up for that. So notice, what are the fears? So we got someone here, Jackie, worried. So you're afraid that your prospective clients will wonder why we haven't made more progress than we have. I feel like we should be a lot farther along. Got it. So with the company, you've reached out to people before, and you haven't gotten as far as you thought you would. Got it. And so you feel embarrassed. Maybe you feel ashamed. Maybe you feel like, I could have done something different. Got it. So what will that say about you? If you have that phone call with someone and you have to admit we're not as far, what's the concern that you have? Jackie or Scott here, creating conflict or fear? What do you think he means by that, Tanya? Creating conflict or fear?
I don't know. I ask for clarification, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
And also, Kathy, this is great. And I feel like everybody's getting like free coaching, which is awesome. And just in it, as you move through this this exercise, I feel like the exercise is worth going into, and then we could just take it to Q&A because of where we are. I think that'd be awesome because it feels like people are getting value. So if that guy clarified, what was his name? I can't see the chat. I'm so sorry.
Scott Roney?
Yeah, Scott Roney. Awesome,
Okay.
dude. Having difficult conversations about an issue and causing conflict or causing that person to fear the future or consequences. Woo! That's a big one. I'm glad I'm not the one. That's Coach Kathy today.
Person to fear the future or consequences. Okay, so Scott, I'm going to guess what's happening there is that having the hard conversation will mean that you have to admit something about what's happening in the company, and that person is going to be even more afraid of knowing the truth that you already know. Maybe you're the leader of this organization, and so go even further. So that person is going to maybe leave. They're going to think that you suck. They're going to go talk about you to other people. Like, you want to name the fears, list them, so that the whole purpose of this question number 2 is so that you can see it and you can be like, okay, can I survive that? Like, if my book was a B-, could I survive that? Yeah, I could. And it would be, I wouldn't feel happy about it, but I could survive it. So that's the idea here. So Jackie, for you, it's ego, fear of embarrassment from my former colleagues who are now prospective clients, also frustration that the tech side of things are taking a really, really long time. Okay, cool, great. Okay, so you've named the fear. Let's go to question number 3. So there's always an option that we all know is there, but we don't take that option. And we don't walk through door number 2, which is actually taking action. And that is, you could just delete this. So question number 3 is, how will you feel if you don't do the thing? Like, what if you just don't do it? Jackie, what if you just don't contact prospective clients and give them an update?
That's such a powerful question, Kathy. And it's one that I've used to as a litmus for moving forward when things get difficult. Like when I was writing my book, it wasn't all like dreamy typing. And then, there was a lot of moments where I doubted it. And so I'm like, well, what if I don't write the book? What if I don't and then I got really sad. Like I felt it in my body, and those emotions drove me further to commit to the goal at hand. I'm like, I'm a creative trespasser. I can write this creative trespassing book.
So beautifully said. It's an option. And when we realize that someone could take it away from us, or we can take it away from ourselves, that feeling of like, but wait, I really want that. That's telling us something, that we do want it. Or if you delete it and you feel fine and you're like, no problem, then why is it even on your list? Like, why are you even losing sleep over it? Then maybe you don't really want it that bad. So same for me, the book feels like it's important to me because how will I feel if I don't do it? I'll feel sad. I'll feel annoyed at myself. I'll feel like, oh, my potential and the possibility that I've created, I don't get to experience it, right? So for you out there, how will you feel if you don't do the thing? Jackie loves this question. You'd feel sad to have to let this go, to have failed at making it work. Good. All right. Excellent. So that was number 3. How will you feel if you don't do the thing? What will you think about yourself? Okay, cool. Let's move to number 4, Tanya, shall we? I want to be
let's do it. Yeah, let's
okay,
do
cool.
it.
So number 4. Okay, so number 4, the question is why is this important to you? Like, why does it matter? Jackie, Scott, Sophie, Tanya, why does it matter? Why does streamlining your business matter, Tanya? Why is it important to you?
Yeah, because I know and value some of the skills that I have, which are writing and storytelling and speaking. And I know that those help serve people, companies, and movements. And so it matters because it's bigger than me. And back to, I don't know if it was Jackie or somebody wrote about ego. It's actually like, it's ego when I'm scared, and it's pure joy when I move into serving.
So the streamlining for you means that your business can reach more people, right? You can have more impact. And it's like your way to scale.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You've been avoiding it because it's probably hard, cumbersome, challenging, not as much fun as creating.
Correct.
The way that you do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Right on.
Got it.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So why it's important to you is that you want to help people move through their blocks. And we have some people that also shared some thoughts. Okay, so Jackie, I'm trying to solve a huge problem related to climate change. Yes, very important. And affordable housing, another important issue. I'm not the only one working on it, but I'm very much wanting to be part of the solution. Yeah, so Jackie, it matters to you. Like the product that or the service that you're working on creating and building a business around matters to you, right? So if you just went and got a job or did something different, sounds like it would be in the back of your mind and in your heart and through your body, something that you feel like, there's still so much more that I can do. So we need to remind ourselves why it's important to us. On the other hand, if it's not important to you, take that shit off your list. It doesn't matter, right? But your business matters to you because of its potential, Tanya. Others on this call feel the same about theirs. And for me, writing the book, I just want to help one person. Like if you can't afford one-on-one high-end coaching, great, I got a book for you. And if one person is able to move forward in their life and get unstuck and design their life in a way that impacts their community, their family, their goals to where they're having impact, like that matters. Okay, so Sophie, I have some more comments. I can see the clear opportunity and believe we're in a great position to fill the gap and create a lot of impact on our target market. Yeah, impact. I mean, impact is the big piece. Keeping you up at night, Michelle. Yes, I understand. Okay, cool. So that's 4. Why is this important to you? Got to write it down. Number 5. And before I talk about number 5, I said this earlier, I'm going to say it again, has to do with overcomplication. We're complicating things, right? And so when something feels complicated, like for you, Tanya, streamlining your business probably feels complicated. There's a lot of steps to it right now in your mind. So this next question number 5 is, what would this look like if it were easy? So you're doubting you should do the thing that you've been avoiding. You figured out what you're afraid will happen if you do it. That makes you feel a little less afraid. And then you figured out how you will feel if you let yourself off the hook and you don't do the thing. And you realize, wait, this is really important to me. Okay, cool. So now what's the block? It's probably that you've made yourself overwhelmed by all the steps that you think you have to do, the hoops you need to jump through to do the thing. Tanya, you have an example on how you're overcomplicating things?
Yeah, I was just typing to Phoenix Startup Week while trying to listen and, and pet my dog. So I don't know if that's overcomplication
So the
or
question
just
is,
being dynamic.
What would this look like if it were easy, right?
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is, you know what, this is,
how would it look?
I think that I will tell you, and I will tell you first that question is literally, you asked this question or posed this to me when we started working together a few years ago. And it was mind blowing because it allowed me to get out of blaming or anybody else for anything that I found myself stuck in, and take responsibility for moving forward at any rate of speed. So what would ease look like is, I don't know, I would do one thing. That's it. I mean, we could talk more about it in a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of just cutting that down and making it simple. So if I'm writing a book and I'm overwhelmed and I'm trying to hire a copywriter and I'm thinking about designing the website and I'm thinking about marketing, I'm too many steps ahead. How are you too many steps ahead in what you need to get done? I just need to write the book. So too often we overwhelm ourselves, we overcomplicate it by thinking too far ahead. Looking ahead is important, but when we look too far ahead, we lose what's right in front of us. So for me, I just need to finish the 6 chapters, write a chapter a week and be done in 6 weeks. And I'll have a first draft. And then I can start to search for editors, designers, etc. So, okay, so that was question number 5. What would this look like if it were easy? Last question. What's one thing you can do as your next step, which is what you just were getting at. Number 6, what's one thing you can do as your next step? Not 10 steps, but the next step. So, Tanya, you want to say something, it sounds like?
Well, it's funny because actually when I was writing my book, one thing that I learned that it was so astounding that it actually compelled me to create a whole online course around it was, instead of doing all or nothing, I had a tendency, as a lot of high achievers do, to do it all and then get overwhelmed and then do nothing. I'm like, oh, I can do one thing rather than no things. And so this is what I do and teach and preach because it works. So it goes kind of like this, like I do one thing, like literally one thing, whether that's like write half a chapter a day. And then I celebrate that I did one thing, even though it seemed minuscule to past Tanya. And then I take a moment to relax or refuel or self-care. And then I repeat, and then I do it again. So do one thing versus no thing has become like my mantra and way of being healthy and moving forward. And actually you find, I mean, I don't know if there are any marathon runners here, but I've run marathons. It's the same thing. It's like these small, incremental, everyday actions forward add up. They add up to an entire book. They add up to 26.2 miles. And so do one thing versus no thing has been my real big lesson.
You are a gift. That's exactly what it is. Action is the answer. And the way that you just laid that out is exactly what everyone here that's with us today needs to consider. Of all the things that you can do, what's one thing you can do? And we're going to ask you to put in the chat. Because I can't believe it's already 11:44, Tanya.
No, listen, hey, wait, hold the line. Listen, PHX Startup Week, if nothing else, is very generous and kind and smart. And so we started a little bit late. And so we're going to go till 12:50. We've got 12:55, so that there are plenty of people in the session. We really want to provide time for you guys to go deeper and ask Kathy or myself some questions.
Okay,
so
great.
Go for it.
Ooh, you so influential. You got us more time. Awesome. That's great. I love it. Yeah, I think it's magical what you just said. That's exactly it. Like, it's not rocket science, people. Coaching is having someone that you're accountable to. And I think a really important point that I think it's kind of, it's it's assumed here, but I think we need to call out, is that when you're running your own company, when it's up to you, let's say you're a company of 1, or you're a company of 10, or you're a company of 50, like accountability is really hard when you're the one who's running the show. And where does the motivation come from? And so you have to go back to your why. You have to go back to uncovering the fears of where your doubts are coming from to move you forward. Because the CEO of Creative Trespassing, wakes up each morning. The CEO of Saks Ventures wakes up each morning, and I've got this committee in my head, right? And around the table of this committee of voices in my head are really great supporters, and also like some really crappy but loud doubters that are around that committee table. So what are you going to do today to combat that? Because they're going to show up. What are you going to do? And the sword and the cape is action. Like a big A on your chest is action. And what you just talked about is exactly it. Jackie, I love that too. I've learned it before and have even been succeeding in doing it at times. To do one thing. Yeah, do one thing. There's a book called The One Thing. And in the beginning, they have a Russian proverb, which I'll say in English, which is, you can't catch 2 rabbits at once. You got to pick one. You go after the one rabbit. When you catch that one, you go and you catch the other one. Apparently in Russia, they catch lots of rabbits, but like, that's the thing, right? I mean, multitasking is not helpful. Oh, I do want to say one thing, Tanya, because I had in my notes, I want to make sure. Sometimes when we're procrastinating and when we're avoiding, like sometimes if you're someone who doesn't really make a bad habit out of procrastinating, sometimes the avoidance is it's something within you, within your mind, body, spirit, trying to tell you something, which is maybe you shouldn't do the thing. So notice that, and your best instincts will tell you if you really shouldn't, and you've gone through this exercise and you've discovered that, then cut yourself a break and find the thing that does matter to you to do. But, oftentimes just because you're an achiever, just because you're a higher performer, doesn't mean you should do it, right? You should launch the thing, launch the campaign just because you can. Understand what its impact is going to be and why it matters to you, to your audience.
Yeah, I want to just say one quick thing, and then we'll sort of move into Q&A in just a minute.
Yeah.
But
yeah, one great idea.
But to your point, though, which I really loved, is I remember I've written a couple books. Okay, so the first book I was totally dragging my feet, and of course, if you have health insurance, get therapy. Therapy helps. Therapy is like the foundation for all scaling. Okay, I don't even get a kickback from my therapist. I have to pay a lot. Anyway, and she said to me, I'm just like, I don't know, I can't finish my book, but I really want to. She's like, just don't write it. Don't write it. Don't think about it. At all, indefinitely. The end, quit your whining about it and just put it aside. And so I did. And literally, like, I didn't think about it. I didn't write. And then a week later, I'm like, I totally want to write my effing book. And so having that, a lot of times we think we need to stay stuck in the doom spiral in order to find a way out. That's counterintuitive and counterproductive. So get the F out, throw it away. Peace out, book. And then see if your gut and your instinct drives you back to the book or the project or the company that you're working on.
I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, a startup week is here. Hello, magical being.
Hello. I'm 3 questions, and I would like to use this time to, okay. First, this is a big one. How do you figure out what motivates? How do you figure out what motivates you?
How do you figure out what you froze? So the question is, how do you figure out what motivates you?
That's right. How do you figure out what motivates you?
Oh, God. You keep asking the question why, and you have to ask the question why, not once, not twice, but you got to go down 5, 6 layers. Why do I want to write the book? Okay. Why? Okay, great. I want to help people. Why do I want to help people? Okay. I want to help people because there's a problem. People are not moving forward in their lives. Okay. Why does that matter? And you have to go down to the levels to get to the root. It's like reducing a fraction down to its simplest form. And so if you don't know how to get the motivation, you don't know how to ask the question why. And you don't know how to create the space to ask yourself the question why. So the other piece to that is getting quiet. You're probably not letting yourself get quiet long enough and often enough to figure out what is your why relative to the project or to your life. I mean, it could be a big question. It could be something as simple as, the project that someone noted. But yeah, you got to get quiet, dude. Like you're probably not getting quiet enough.
Second question. What is your number one suggestion on avoiding procrastination?
I feel like we covered that. And it's a great segue into how we want to cap things off also, which is what's one step you can take that has you getting unstuck? Like what's one step you can take? So if it's to send an email, send an email. So our friend Jackie, right? Jackie, you don't need to send an email to all the prospective clients. You don't even need to send an email to one of them. How about you just write a draft of what you would say to a prospective client in an email, and you don't even have to press send. But what you find is if you set the timer for 5 minutes and you do that, you'll find that the 5 minutes turns into 10 and turns into 15 and 20. Momentum begets momentum. So you got to find whatever way you can get momentum to get yourself out of the space of being stuck.
And
Tanya?
I'm gonna say, yeah. Am I unmuted? Sorry. Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to check, see if my MySpace account is open, maybe Friendster. Then I eat some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, popsicles, whatnot. No, here's what I do. I actually use constructed fear to help me with procrastination, healthy constructed fear. And by fear, I mean accountability. So I will put myself in positions where I'm accountable to somebody who ain't me. Because as you can tell, I'll let myself check old emails all day long. So that's why, for example, with my book, I got a book deal before I wrote it so that I would write it. And I was accountable to an editor and a publisher and a team. So when you find yourself stuck in procrastination, a good thing to do is get outside yourself and get somebody or a group of somebodies to be accountable to. Tell them what the project is, the scope, the deadline, and let them hold you accountable to it. And then have a snack.
I like the snack part. Last question, because 4 people have. What is the relevance, importance of having an accountable partner or ecosystem to progressing?
I think Tanya just said it, where when you are with others, first of all, like for me with the book, I hired Tanya to help me write the book. And she looks really funny and interesting and cool to be friends with, but she can be scary when you have a meeting set up with her, right? So she's loving and scary. And I like to say, Tanya would probably say the same about me, loving and scary, and ultimately just care about seeing you put out into the world what you need to put out. So, Kate, I think about the Startup Week. This is about community. This is about people connecting with one another. This is about people admitting like, hey, I am delaying stuff that's important to me. So let's all raise our hands and admit it, and then share. Like to your point, Tanya, I think that answers it beautifully. Is that you are not alone. You are not missing something. You are not missing capabilities. You are not smart enough. You just need support. I think find support online.
That's great. And I'm gonna just add one more thing, because look, you might not be smart enough. That's fine. And here's the deal. This is what a lot of you know about T-shaped skills, right? Like we have a depth and breadth of knowledge in one area, but we're not experts in all areas. So the reason why it's important to assemble a team to move your projects or ideas forward is because you need diversity, diversity in thought and cultural background in every frickin' direction. Otherwise, you are missing out on ideas and information that you don't know shizit about, that I don't know shizit about, which is like a kid-friendly way. If you're like 5-year-olds walking past and she's like, oh my God, shizit, that's so cute. That's better than what I would have said. But the point is to bring together a group of diverse human beings. Otherwise, you are staying in your own spiral. Get the Bazuck out. And one more thing I'm gonna drop in unless you already have it, Kate, if people want to get in contact with Kathy or myself, can you drop some websites or ways to do that in the
It's already in there. Yeah.
Oh my God, fancy pants. Sorry.
So
Oh,
if you go in the Whova app under chat, all of the questions that they post to you and all of their contact information is in there. And we hope that you two pop over to Whova and answer the rest of the questions. I got to pop off for our next speaker at noon. Thank you, ladies. This is great. I hope everybody's feeling as unstuck as I am. This was fantastic. Thank you for your time. I know it's hard to come by. We appreciate you donating it to us.
Thank you for your work making this week happen. It's so incredible. And this is the community that's going to help people make it happen. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Tanya,
Thank you. What a pleasure. Take care. Good luck. Bye.